that unique selling point I brought, right, to the media industry is what is called influencer marketing now. As at 2012, 2013, influencer marketing wasn't a thing yet in Nigeria. There was no even time for it. Everyone was just on Twitter. And they decided to help people build their followership and help them understand what influencer marketing can be. You can have a lot of followers and make money from it. While being an ambassador for Blackberry, I remember these events that used to reach out to me to wear their shirts. They started to reach out to me to give me 5,000 naira. 3,000 naira to tweet, basically. Because at that time, I had like 25,000 or about 18,000, 25,000 followers on Twitter. And if you were on Twitter then, you remember something called, like, sometimes you just see some people, it will say something like, TJ Dots is now trending in Lagos, right? It means that your tweet is going viral. Yeah. Trendupp Africa's goal is to basically be that platform that supports everything the influencers do, right, in Nigeria and across Africa. In last 10 years, that's a bit of what we've grown into. So we've grown from just being Dots Media to becoming Dots Media Group, where we have these different expressions under ours.
The name of the app, is it also Trendupp Africa?
Yeah, Trendupp Africa on iOS, on Android as well. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to when I eventually get to step down as CEO for Dots Media.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Founders of Covered Africa. I'm here with Tiwalola, founder and CEO of Dots Media. Tiwa is also an award-winning entrepreneur in media, food, and tech. And Tiwa, you also have a doctorate in arts from European American University.
Yeah.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ose. It's so good to be here, actually.
Yeah, I know it was busy. Obviously, your schedule is busy, and I appreciate you for being here.
I look forward to being here. So
yeah. So tell us about Tiwa.
Okay. So by the way, the doctorate in arts is actually honorary, and I'm grateful to the European American University for that honor. I really would say I count myself as a simple person. 30 plus, being into business, entrepreneurship, for the last 15 years. I think I ventured into business, my early 20s, around 21. I'm happily married, really grateful to be married to my beautiful wife. What else? I think I'm just a very simple guy, and I can't wait to dive into the conversation.
Yeah. So tell us about Dots Media.
Okay, so I think before I even go into Dots Media, maybe I kind of talk about the background just a bit.
Yeah.
So I remember I studied in the University of Lagos, and I remember getting into school, and the course I was going to study was quantity surveying, right? And funny how, while I was getting into school, I didn't even know it was a 5-year course, right? So I got into 100 level, and then I realized it was a 5-year course, and all my age mates or my age group that we're getting into school together, we're going to go for we're studying the 4-year course, meaning that I will be in school 1 year more. And that was quite, what's the word, stressful for me, right? But as soon as I go into 100 level as well, and I finished the first year, just immediately after I finished the first year, I kind of knew that I was doing the wrong thing, honestly.
Wow.
The course I was studying wasn't anything I was interested in, wasn't anything I wanted to do. But I was in school already, right? And at that point, I realized that now when I fast forward and I look at it, I realized that I had a major decision to make in my life, right? Because I could have decided that, I'll just go ahead with it, go through it, graduate, and then pursue that career. And by now, I know that I wouldn't have been happy, right? Or the other option, which I did, which was to conclude the course, right? Because I think it's quite important to go to school, right? Conclude the course, graduate, and then chase my passion. So as at that point in our level where I realized that, I think what followed was finding my purpose in life, right? And that was quite, for me, I think it was quite easy because as at 100 level into 200 level, one thing I noticed was that while on campus, I was quite popular, right? People would want to do events in school and we just think that if I wear their publicity shirt, so there's something called a publicity shirt where you want to do an event, you print the name of the event on it, the details of the event at the back. And whenever I wear that kind of shirt for any event or any project, it just drives traffic. Wow. In school, as small as our community was. And from there, like I started to do what is now called PR. I didn't even know what that was, but just word of mouth for different projects, different events on campus, and it just became popular, right, in campus. So as at the time I go into touring level, which was the I think that the turning point for me, right? Blackberry was coming to Nigeria, right? And they didn't want to go through the usual route of what brands do, where they pick popular musicians, footballers as ambassadors. They were going to pick young people that were notable in communities, right? And so I think about 5,500 people were interviewed across Nigeria, and I became the first ambassador that was picked for Blackberry.
Oh, wow.
This was in 200 level. And from there, I think, because all we did for the next 5 years for Blackberry, between then and my final year, because there was ASU strike as well. So I basically spent 5 years from touring level to graduation. And what followed then was we're basically creating strategies for Blackberry. We would get the devices months before it got released to the market, to review it, to check it, to understand what it's about, and then create a marketing plan for it, right? So between touring level and final year, that was what I was balancing with studying, right? Honestly, that was a turning point for me. I was being paid in dollars as a touring level. I was meeting a good network of people. I think 11 other ambassadors were picked across Nigeria. I was the team lead for the whole country as at that young age, and that was one of the very important part that built my values, built how I see business, how I see structures, and all those things. And so for me, like with everything I did on Blackberry's projects, different projects across Nigeria, outside Nigeria, I was certain that was the space I was built for, because it happened effortlessly. Yes. I wasn't doing anything for the money. Like, it was always fun for me when you wake me up to tell me that, oh, we had a project that we need to plan a strategy for, or we need to execute for, or we need to do influencer marketing. So that's another aspect, and I think that we'll get into that as we go on. But as soon as I went through that process and I got to my final year, I was already sure that I wasn't going to do any other thing. I wasn't going to do a 9-to-5. I wasn't going to work in any other industry. I was just going to go into business. And then I kicked off DottsMediaHouse in my final year.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is from 200 level.
200 level, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you say you kicked off DottsMedia. Like, please tell us a little bit on that.
Okay. So for me, I also just didn't kick it off because I wanted to own a company.
Yeah.
I always believe that if you want to excel in anything, that you have a particular USP that you want to do. So USP as in a unique selling point. You just don't jump into an industry or jump into a market or start a company for starting sake. You're not going to, most people won't go far that way, right? One of the ways that you're going to be able to become successful at something is to have a unique value you're bringing, right, to the table. And for us, when I started, now I say us, but when I started, it was just me in my room or my laptop or my phone, right? In just on Twitter and all that. What that unique selling point I brought, right, to the media industry is what is called influencer marketing now, right? As at 2012, 2013, right, influencer marketing wasn't a thing yet in Nigeria, right? There was no even time for it. Everyone was just on Twitter. There was no Instagram yet. There was no TikTok. There was nothing like that. It was just Twitter. And maybe MySpace, To Go, BBM, and all those things. And they decided to help people build their followership and help them understand what influencer marketing can be. You can have a lot of followers and make money from it. And the way I also ran into this thing was, while being an ambassador for Blackberry, right? I remember these events that used to reach out to me to wear their shirts, started to reach out to me to give me 5,000 naira, 3,000 naira to tweet, basically. Because at that time, I had like 25,000 or about 18,000, 25,000 followers on Twitter. And if you were on Twitter then, you remember something called, like, sometimes you just see some people, it will say something like, TJ Dots is now trending in Lagos, right? It means that your tweet is going viral. Yes. Right, so I got that. I used to get that a lot. And so I was helping a couple of people to grow their followership, become influencers, basically, even though we didn't even know the term for it then. And so when I started my company in the final year, that was the first value that I was able to bring into the industry, being able to do influencer marketing as a service, right, for different brands. So we had other agencies that were like us that was outsourcing influencer marketing to DottsMedia to do. And as soon as we were able to bring that service to the forefront, that opened doors for a lot more services that we do now. Because once you're the only one doing something, or you're one of the few people that does something, it opens the doors for you. To be able to.
So how does that evolve? So now, today, looking back 2024, what is Dot Media? What are the services that you offer now?
Kicking off Dot Media was 2014 officially. So funny how this year is when we're 10 years.
Oh, congratulations.
We're looking forward to really celebrate that by God's grace. December 20th is our anniversary date.
Nice.
Wow, in the last 10 years, a lot has happened, obviously. Running business in Nigeria is something else. It's tedious, but I'm sure that we would be able to speak about that also.
Yes.
But in 10 years, right, just from starting from that service, influencer marketing, right, up until where we are now, we've gone through a lot of services. We've launched a lot of products. We work for a lot of global brands. And just to break it down more, we do beyond influencer marketing now. We do different aspects of media, but we call everything 360 media. So we do digital marketing that entails the same influencer marketing, social media management, sponsored ad, Google ads, and all those things. We do media buying that entails billboard executions out of home, TV amplification, radio amplification, so radio jingles being put on radios and all that. And then we also do production, right, where we produce ads, right, for different brands. So to give a case study, for example, a brand called Cheaper Cash, who is present in 8 countries, for example, we handle everything for them in those different markets. We've signed ambassadors for them like Burna Boy, Patrice Evra, and Kasime from Uganda, for example, Simi from Nigeria. And we've done several ads for them. We work for brands like Pepsi, we work for brands like HP, Intel, and this is the growth for the last 10 years, right, for the Dots Media aspect. But like I said, we've grown beyond just Dots Media now. We've grown to own, to publish like a report now that is also focused on media, right? And that has grown big. It's been featured in New York Times. It's basically a resource for everyone that is a media or is a media enthusiast, right? To know the state of influencer marketing, know the state of media in Nigeria till now, right? As at 2012, 2013, right? Influencer marketing wasn't a thing yet in Nigeria. We employed our first staff. We started from a co-working space. And 10 years down the line now, we realized that it's important to give back. The co-working space was important to our culture, to our growth and all that. And it's important that we give back also to the young entrepreneurs that are coming. So that was the goal for starting the co-working space. We've also gone ahead in 2017 to start. So we've removed the service influencer marketing from our company now. Not as a service, but removed it to make it a full company. So we have a star company called Trendupp Africa. And the goal with Trendupp Africa is basically to be the home for influencers and content creators. So we have a mobile app, for example, where influencers and content creators can get tips from their fans. They can own shops where they sell merchandise and all that, and several things on the mobile app. And beyond that, we also have an initiative on another company that is an award platform. So these influencers and content creators that you're seeing, for example, they do great work on social media, right? Deliver great content and all that, and no one was honoring them.
Yes.
Meanwhile, musicians, footballers, movie stars all have award platforms that honor them for the work they do. And these guys are the new age creatives, right? And we took it upon ourselves to start that award platform. It's called Trendupp Awards. This year is the 4th edition. It's now acclaimed as the Influencer Award for Africa.
Awards. Wow.
Yes. For as a matter of fact, we just don't give the awards alone. We also support the winners' craft. So in our 2nd year of the award, for example, we gave all the winners, 16 winners, $1,000 each to support their crafts, right? Last year, for example, the biggest winner of the night won a brand new car, right, from Mikano Motors. Thanks to Mikano Motors. So for us, Trendupp Africa's goal is to basically be that platform that supports everything the influencers do, right, in Nigeria and across Africa. Yeah. So you see, in last 10 years, that's a bit of what we've grown into. So we've grown from just being Dots Media to becoming Dots Media Group, where we have these different expressions under ours.
The name of the app, is it also Trendupp Africa?
Yeah, Trendupp Africa on iOS, on Android as well.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are the challenges you faced running Dots Media?
especially now that we're 10 years, man. So I used to say that, or someone used to say that once you clock 5 years, right, you deserve an applause or something. But once you get close to 10, like, you should really, really sit down and know that you've tried. Because running business is crazy, right? And especially in the industry where I play, where for sure there are a lot of politics going on in the industry, a lot of competition, because we are the age of media, right? In the last 10 years, media has basically, it's been a spiral growth, right? So there's been a lot of development for the space itself. New companies springing out, more people being interested in that space, which is great. Like, it's great for the industry because it helps it to grow. See what is happening with Afrobeats, for example. But to personalize it and to look at Dots Media as a company and the challenges that I would say that we faced in the last 10 years, I would say the first thing would be staffing, right? For me, I think that managing people generally is one of the most difficult things in life generally. If you're doing anything and you're doing it alone, right, you have less chances of failing or less chances of being frustrated. But as soon as you're doing things where you have to manage people, right, it takes a different level of skills. And for me, and I'm sure you'll be able to relate with that, like when you start a business out of just being a hobby, it wasn't supposed to be this big, it wasn't supposed to become this thing that it is now. I just started because I loved media and what we're doing, what I wanted to do in the space, and it's become what it is now. And as soon as you get to this level, right, you start to realize that as a CEO or as a founder, right, you're spending more of your time on even things that you naturally don't like or you don't love, which is the dealing with budgets, managing people, hiring people. Like, those things are necessarily not fun for me, right? And one of the things that don't make it fun as well is just how tedious it is sometimes to hire good talents or good people, right? 10 years now, on this 10th year, I'm grateful for where we are, where the team we have is actually solid. Like, as a matter of fact, I feel like if they told me that on our 10th year will be a year where we have a very solid team, that you can see the passion in them, you can see the stability in them, you can see the skill, right? I would say no, because as of 3 years ago, it was still a struggle with the structure of staffing, right? And one of the other challenges that comes with staffing is also how you put in so much effort into growing team members, right? And with all the resources you're putting into the team members for both for their benefit and for the benefit of the company, right? They can wake up and say they're leaving.
Exactly.
6 months time, 1 year time. What do? It's a frustrating process, right? And honestly, it's also not the fault of the employee because everyone has a personal life, everyone has personal goals and all that. But I think those are the things that makes it a huge challenge. Just putting that, make it just being a circle. It's just a circle, right? Where you hire. After a while, the staff might leave, the staff might stay. We have very solid teams that have stayed with us for 5 years now and all that. But a lot of good people as well have left, right? And it's not because of any reason, but it might just be a personal thing. Oh, they were ready to leave to advance their career. Some relocated. That's one thing that is happening with Nigeria as well that is crazy, right? the whole Jackpot thing. And it's a brain drain on the country. Is making it more difficult to even hire now. I remember last year, I think for some roles, we'll do almost 40 interviews sometimes for just one person to be able to get one person. And even the one person that you might still get might not necessarily be the best that you're looking for, right? But because there's a brain drain, right? That helps basically. So I would say staffing is one of those big challenge. Then I would say that the government as well, right? Because in 15 years of being in business generally, beyond just Dot, I don't think I can point to something in particular that the government has done for my business, right? And this is over different businesses as well, right? Where like just being able to create maybe the ease for you to run business in your country, you get the ease of having offices, the ease of maybe accessing funding, for example. In our 10 years, luckily for us, we've never taken a loan, we've never taken any investments at all, and we've gotten to this level. But I'm just imagining when you compare it to the modern world or to the like, it might sound great, But I want to believe that businesses outside Nigeria, where they access funds from the government or access, might just be able to move faster and grow faster, right? So for me, I would say that that's also maybe just being able to have some policies with the government that would help our businesses be better. That would have been a solid help as well, or like not being a challenge to us. I would say that majorly those are the two things that I would be able to point to. That
and it's interesting because I think it's a true definition of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
With all these challenges, you also have the ability to launch other businesses as well. Yeah. So can we talk about Zarafet Loaves?
Yeah. Beyond media, one thing that's always been a goal for me also is to evolve. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to when I eventually get to step down as CEO for DottsMedia and hand that over to someone else to run the company. I've always wanted to evolve into several businesses because I think that my natural self is a serial entrepreneur, where I basically just want to try out things and not necessarily for the money, not necessarily for profit, but as soon as I'm excited about something, I want to just do it. And for me, as at 2017, which was about 4 years after DottsMedia had kicked off, I've been interested in that food space. So what even happened is that I did a proper research on both poultry and bread bakery. And after doing the research, the proper research, going to Ogun State or your state to check farms and all those things, I realized that poultry was more dangerous, more tedious, because with that business, you basically have to be there 24/7. Any small thing can happen, like for example, having snakes come into the farm and all your birds are dead, or like you mistakenly feed them a wrong thing and all the birds are dead. And I also know that I was going to combine it with several other businesses that I was doing, so that was a no for me. Luckily for me, my mom, who is my hero, right? And I think I got the entrepreneurial spirit from, owns a bakery in our hometown, right? As a matter of fact, it's quite big, right, in Ondo State. And I thought that I've always been interested in it because I grew up also going to the bakery, seeing her run that place and everything. And luckily for me, she was open to also helping me run it once I kicked off in Lagos, right? And that was it.
Entrepreneurship has always been in the family.
Yeah, especially for my mom, very, very, My dad has been an engineer, just basically doing projects and all that. But my mom has been a full-time entrepreneur. And so when I eventually kicked off in 2017, my mom helped to stabilize that, running the operations for the first branch. But funny how, like I shared with DottsMedia as well, the business grew beyond expectations. Like I wasn't expecting a lot of the profit or the growth for the employees and even the distributors that we had. And by 2019, I was able to kick off the second branch as well. And with that business as well, they're just a diverse set of challenges as well. Because these are two different set of business, like looking at the media and looking at the food business. Like with the food business, most people that you're working with are not even educated, right? Unlike the media company where everyone is educated, literate and everything. So it's a different skill set to run that kind of business to the media company. And just to give you an example, like to be more granular, like you can have a staff for a baker, for example, who mixes. So one of the process of what we do is that you mix the flour and you make it into a dough, and then you put it into the pan and wait for about 45 minutes for it to rise before you put it into the oven. These employees can do the whole process, put it into the pan and tell you that, they come, I won't go smoke. And they go out and they don't come back ever. Like they're gone. And guess what? When you find out what happened, it can be that as they went out, someone else saw them and offered them just 2,000 extra on their salary. And they decided to go. From there, not like we have breads waiting. It's rising, right? And waiting to go. And then all those products just spoil. So imagine how challenging that can be because they are uneducated. And the way they see things are different from people that are educated. So it's a different skill set managing that. So again, staffing is a huge problem with business generally for me. And I'm speaking with a lot of CEO friends and everything. I can tell how tedious it is with the employee-employer process. But the major one with the food business would even be increase in products generally in Nigeria. The whole dollar rise, the whole cost fluctuations, right? In the last 3 years, for example, you use about 15 ingredients to produce one bread, right?
Yes.
From flour to sugar to butter to yeast to preservatives all those things, each of those ingredients, the price for them have gone 3x, some 4x. Like a flour that used to be 10,000 naira in before COVID, right, now is about almost 28,000 or 35,000, right? So you see how that has gone. Same with sugar, butter, preservative, and all that. And for most of the bakeries that are in business, they've had to, especially those that have like supermarkets where people walk in to buy, those are the most sustainable ones. But if you're dealing with distributors, because of this increment in the ingredients, right, in the price of the ingredients, you can't just wake up and also take the price of the product and take it 4x. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
So most of the bakeries are dealing with that challenge right now, where they are basically not making any profit. Month in, month out, they are having to dip into their own personal pocket to keep the business alive. And that's because there's increment in prices for gas, increment in price for diesel, increment in prices for fuel, which are all important aspects of running a bread bakery. Okay, so that alone it's crazy. We've had to pause some months, come back, and then keep.
Yeah, before we even go into that angle, there was a couple of things I think me and you touched on a while back. How do you market the loaves itself? I think there were challenges around that.
Yes.
You know, how it needs to be presented, and I think you have to study that. And
yes.
You found that from an unusual source.
Yeah. So and it's just with business as well, which was a learning for me in I think 2018 as well. How important information is, right? How key information is, and I feel like when I speak with people now, I tell them how. Just learning just being in a gathering that you didn't even know would add any value to you. You can just hear something and that would just be a change in your profit, change in everything. And the scenario that happened with the bakery that explains that was in 2020, right, during the COVID as well, because there were a lot of things happening around the world generally, and we're looking for ways to also expand the sales of the business, how to increase our distributors and all that. And I remember I was driving to the bakery one day and I was just wrapping my head around how do we do this thing? It was just a thought, like to stop by a distributor that we had and just have a conversation. And which is I'd never done before because I have people that do that. And I just basically parked and sat down, all this kiosk, like very rural in Ikorodu. I don't know if you know where Ikorodu is, right? And I basically just sat down with the distributor and we had a thorough conversation for like about maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes. In Yoruba self, like, because of course you guys speak English, right? But the insight into what she shared, right, basically made me, I think I touched on almost 12, 14 other distributors that day, right? Just basically stopping because I couldn't believe all the things I was hearing directly from them, right? And the information from them, right, helped to, as insights into the decisions that I made in the following weeks, from changing the color, as simple as changing the color of the nylon, right? Because one of the explanation that we got out of that was that whenever you go to a stand to buy bread, right, and you see different loaves of bread there, without you knowing mentally what attracts you is the color on the nylon, right? It just basically makes you think that the bread is finer, the bread is better, and just being able to introduce. So we had like 3 colors on our nylon as at that time, but from the inside that they had, they were like, oh, we need to make it 5 colors. And from doing that, our sales basically skyrocketed in like 2 months. I'm telling you, like, it was obvious. So that helps me to understand how, like, no matter, you might think some people are not educated, you might think that someone is not even in your industry, and they've just read something somewhere, or they've traveled to a country and they're able to just share something with you that would change the whole dynamics of your business and everything. And
wow, that's amazing. I think it's always key to always get certain insights and information from people, because you never know how their insights can help.
Yeah, for sure.
Last question. I know we've had you here for a long time. What is your future? What do you see yourself being a serial entrepreneur, right, and going into multiple businesses? Where do you see yourself going into next?
To be honest, I feel like I want to be able to build myself. This is personal first before even the business. It's like build myself to a level where I'm able to exit some of those businesses. I have a friend called He, who I respect a lot. If anybody knows He, he founded Andela and Flutterwave, right? And in this aspect I'm about to talk about, I respect him a lot in that. And I've started to learn more from him on that. But I want to be able to build businesses that I'm able to exit, not be there. Like the business can run without me. That's the goal, because I'm a well of ideas. I really have a lot I would like to do. Even though I've done this much, I really have so much. I feel like I've not scratched the surface of a lot of the things I want to do. So I want to be able to grow myself more in that aspect where I'm able to build structures better, right? That will be able to make these businesses run better, right? Without me being present or without me being involved. That's one. But for the business aspect, for Dots Media, for example, we have a huge business strategy we're building this year as our 10th year towards the next decade. And some of those goals are like to expand into Africa. We already do work for global brands across, right? Like I shared with you earlier, we do work for Pepsi, we do work for Chipa, HP, Intel, Pizza Hut, across different markets. But for this particular for this particular strategy that we're building now towards the next decade, we want to be able to physically be present in these African markets, you get, so that we are able to also build teams there that are locally able to execute. So that will be a major goal for us. That's a major goal for us as we go into our next decade. I would also want for Dots Media, because our vision really in Dots Media is to be the leading brand, right, for the evolution of media in Africa. And that's what is most important to us. We want to do media differently. We want to be able to, a lot of the things we've done is a one of a kind. Is the first, from the award where no one has done that before, to the influencer marketing report that we do annually that no one has ever done before, and it's just a resource for the industry. Just different things like that we've done. We want to be able to create that evolution, right, for the media industry, just with what is happening with music as well, with every aspect of like banking, the banking sector, for example, with what Abatunde was able to do with that that space. Yes, rest in peace. Rest in peace. But I think that's the goal for me from the Dots Media angle. Then I also want to be able to have more time to do, like I said, some of these other ideas I have. For example, I kicked off a real estate company as well in 2022, right? It's called Forge and Flip. And the model for Forge and Flip is basically to buy undervalued properties, refurbish it and flip it, right? So Forge and Flip, right, basically. And in 2 years as well, we've been able to do a couple of things. We've done 8 properties already, right? Where we basically just look for good locations, properties that should be more valuable than what it looks like, get it off the owner for a good cost, right? Refurbish it and be able to make it into residential or corporate or commercial buildings. So stuff like that. I want to be able to have more time to be able to execute some of these ideas, and also collaborate more. Like generally, I want to be able to collaborate more, because there are a lot of things you can't do alone. So collaboration is also key for me for the future. Yeah,
no, that's amazing. And before I let you go, I have to ask you this one question because it's just mind-boggling to me. Obviously, you work with Blackberry.
Yeah.
At what point did Blackberry not realize that Apple was going to take over?
Yeah.
Right? I think we talked about this in the past. Yeah. So what were your thoughts on that? I think you tried to reach out to them.
Yeah. Because I was that's basically our job, honestly, like to be able to share insights with them from our own markets. Because I was representing Nigeria, so be able to share insights with them to know how to go about challenges, and also to be able to even have foresight, right? But honestly, when you look at Blackberry, that's a phenomenal brand, right?
Yes.
What they did, even though it's become a thing of the past now, right, was phenomenal. There was a time, it's like Nokia. There's a time when there was no competition, no rival, nothing, right? But it goes back to something I said earlier about evolving, right? Every business, no matter how big you get, no matter how profitable you are, must have that, must create that space to be able to think of evolving, because something is always new that is coming. See what's happening with AI now. As soon as media companies or like individuals are not aligning themselves with AI, some people will get dropped off. It's a logical thing in the world. Right, and I think that with Blackberry, that was a challenge, honestly. Like, I think it was just that will I call it too much belief or self-belief in their product? Which is also naturally not a bad thing, right? Because believing your product And knowing what you carry is also important. But it gets to a point where you also need to be able to listen to the public, listen to the information coming to you, right? Imagine how I sat down with distributors as well. Exactly. And I don't listen. I'm like, oh, what do these people know? They are not like... So for me, I think that there was just too much belief in the BBM product in particular. And they didn't see Instagram taking over. They didn't see WhatsApp taking over. They didn't see, and it was, and you know, when things are going down, honestly, it doesn't happen overnight. You wouldn't even know. It just keeps happening until you just get you somewhere and then you see yourself like in there. Yeah. So I think that was what happened in particular. We had reached out, shared our own insights about how Instagram was becoming important, right, to the whole Nigeria ecosystem. WhatsApp was becoming a thing. You need to start finding a way to impute Instagram as a app into the BBM ecosystem. But that wasn't something they were going to do. Yeah. And before they finally decided to do it, it was late already. It was
too late.
Yeah, Apple was there and all that. Yeah. One of the questions I get asked on social media the most, right, or whenever I go for interviews, also like these young people, right, especially the Gen Zs. I'm a millennial, so for Gen Z, the way they see life, the way they do things and everything, I think the young people have the potential to even do better than millennials, honestly, because there's just that bit of nonchalantness that happens and can spring you into success faster. Yeah. But the challenge with the younger people now is that they just need guidance. Once you have that that freedom, right, it can spring you into success. But if it's guided, it can even be better. So for me, like, I think that one thing that helped me, right, while I was growing up and also growing my business was mentorship. And I don't see that a lot with young people now.
Where would they get it? That's the challenge, right? Because you have a very big, large young population. Yeah. Where do they go to get that mentorship? And are people willing to offer it to them? You know? So that's the challenge.
Yeah. So for me, I think that using my own story, it's just about, again, what we said about information, right? In your spirit, there's a way you feel once you have a conversation with someone. There's a way you, like you said, we've had conversations over the night with other CEOs that,
is willing to take notes.
Yes.
No matter who the person
I'm telling you, like, because you can't underrate information. Like, it's just so important. Like, I can't tell you how much mistakes I've been saved from by just having a mentor. By the way, my mentor the last 10 years has been Debola Williams. I don't know if you know him, Debola Williams, Debola Lagos, who runs a company called Red Media. It's a group of companies, owns Future Awards, Wine Nigeria and all that. And it was key to my earlier days, honestly. He's now a friend and brother, but it was key to the integral part of my business, right? Just being able to have someone that's gone ahead to do something. His company is almost 17 years. So someone that's gone ahead, being able to, they necessarily don't do anything, but the point is that being able to sit with them and bounce an idea off them, and they being able to tell you, oh, don't go like this, right? You necessarily don't even need to take it. But just hearing that advice as everything is a guidance to you. Yes. So for me, I think that mentors are everywhere. Like, you just have to be the one to, and it necessarily doesn't mean a mentor needs to be very rich or very, because I think that's another thing that we mistake, right? You don't also have to pick someone you can access like a Bill Gates or like a Obama or like, it needs to be someone that you also have access to, right? And you're able to speak to freely so that you're able to share what you want to do and they're able to guide you in it. So for me, to young people, I think that mentorship, by any chance, find a mentor, right, for your journey. And then also start early. I think that starting early is everything. This generation that we are as well, nobody wants to also work till old age. Like, you can retire faster that way and be able to do fun things, right, with your life. So
yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. We really appreciate it. Thanks.